All right, it seemed like a pipe dream just a couple of days ago when we were covering it, when the headline broke, when there were people talking about, hey, Liverpool are in for this Florian Wirtz guy. Liverpool want the most talented number 10 in the Bundesliga and possibly the freshest, most hot prospect in Europe right now who's available for a transfer. That felt unrealistic, un-FSG-like, whatever FSG-like means. But here we are, 10 days, 2 weeks later, after our initial videos, after the speculation, and we're finding out a lot of the details as to why this deal was even possible in the first place. With Florian Wirtz flying into Liverpool, apparently a fee is very much close to being agreed. Apparently, personal terms already looking good for Florian Wirtz. Apparently, Florian likes Liverpool as an institute. Apparently, he likes or wants to live in this part of the world. It's pretty incredible when you think about it. But at the same time, a lot of people talk about it. They speak about Liverpool as if Liverpool is literally the middle of nowhere. Now, I drove there the other day from London. From London, it might feel like the middle of nowhere. But guess what? If you're a journalist, you're meant to think about that. Living near Munich, obviously, Cologne's a beautiful city, but, you get what I'm saying, the whole Leverkusen thing going on there. There's a lot of lifestyle differences in European footballers that someone like Florian Wirtz might not want to live in a big city at this point in his life. He might want to continue his development at a club like Liverpool. And a huge reason why he might be able to do that is because apparently Michael Edwards, since 2020, probably before, but since 2020 has been tracking this kid, made some contact with him, been looking at the prospect of bringing him to Liverpool, been looking at the prospect of bringing him to any of the projects that he, of course, was involved in at some time. And that's part of having an incredible person at the top of your football direction pyramid. Of course, we've got Richard Hughes. Of course, we've got a whole number of brilliant staff like Arne Slot. And of course, we'll have a new assistant manager sometime soon. But the point is, when you get like that pitch from Edwards, when you get the call from Liverpool, when you get all these things, it's a compelling cumulative process. We had Jorge Schmacht, I think is the way you pronounce it, last summer, or the summer before, and he did a pretty incredible job of overhauling that midfield. You had Szoboszlai, obviously had McAllister, obviously Gravenberch, for all pretty reasonable prices, frankly, and people who look like real value now that we've lifted the Premier League title with a midfield three, even if it wasn't the midfield three that Klopp brought in. The underlying numbers of any of these players will probably always be hidden to us, right? Or at least hidden to us at the time of the transfer happening. But Edwards will have looked at this kid. He probably looked at 50 different number 10s, but he will have looked at this kid and he will have known there was a very unique talent there. How do you attract that talent? How do you attract someone who they say has the feet of a Brazilian and the tactical intelligence of a German? That's exciting, by the way. Not only that, but of course, Liverpool rebuilding their on-field system at the moment know that someone who's adaptable, someone who is essentially as game-breaking and as number-stacking as Sadio Mane was for us, all those kind of people, gives Liverpool the balance that they haven't had throughout this season. We've relied very heavily on Mo Salah, and a big, big question in this off-season, as we're going to call it, was, hey, how are we going to make it so that we don't stack the numbers onto Mo Salah again next season? And we are expecting Luis Diaz to step up. We're expecting Cody Gakpo to step up. We're expecting possibly a new striker to step up or Jota to be back to 100%. Bringing in Wirtz, an adaptable, possibly centre of the field, possibly left wing, can attack from the right wing player, lifts a lot of that worry for Salah. Now, of course, it also means that, we've got a couple of people in the team who are competing, to be the top dog. And, in any team, I think there's always a bit of a hierarchy. There's always a bit of a system in there as to, who takes the corners, who takes the penalties, who takes the free kicks, all these kind of things. There's probably going to be some sort of hierarchy at the club which works that out. And there's, ultimately, I think Florian Wirtz, I think Liverpool is signing him because he comes across as an individual who's incredibly humble, who's crafting a career rather than just letting it happen and kind of let the money fall where it may kind of thing. Playing for an institution like Leverkusen is different to playing for an institution like Bayern Munich. Appreciating the small nuances of the league possibly indicates that this kid does want a move to somewhere more like Liverpool than an institute, excuse me, I'm overcoming a cough, which is going to overwrite some of your your more instinctive nature. I'm talking about maybe Man City and Pep Guardiola as they rebuild their hierarchy. Apparently, of course, he's had meetings with them. Apparently, of course, he's had meetings with Bayern. Why would you not take meetings with those people? If you've got a transfer, you want to know you've got the best option. You don't just go for your best house when you buy a new house. You look at all the different options in the market and see what it is that makes you feel right. But of course, when he looked at those other places, and I think, some of this, I think we should always treat some of this with a pinch of salt, right? Bayern Munich pitched him. They will have been a very compelling pitch. There are a lot of football's top players there right now, and there is a great coach there as well. They've just won the Bundesliga, obviously. I don't think they were overly impressive in the Champions League, but they're a good team, right? They weren't at the same level as you. Yeah. The point is, he went in there, looked at the training facilities, and apparently wasn't all that impressed. Apparently wasn't all that impressed by what Bayern said to him in the meeting of kind of, well, that the refurbishment is on hold at the moment, and, you're a big investment for us, all these kind of things. I don't know if that's a headline coming out of Germany because there are some people in Germany who want to make a political point, or if it is just a literal point. He wasn't impressed with the training facilities. I'll probably take that with a pinch of salt. Though, on the other side, Man City also have incredible training facilities. Liverpool have a world-class facility to go and train. Manchester United, there's a huge reason they're doing theirs up. There's a huge reason things are changing around a number of institutes to try to attract these people. But Liverpool's brilliance, Liverpool's complex, Liverpool's sense of progression through the club, and I've had my own tour of the training ground, we've all had a tour of the training ground, right? Show that there is a level of brilliance and a level of aptitude and a level of competence at the club to allow players to flourish. There is a system that seems very clear as soon as you step in through those front doors. If you come here, things are going to be good. If you come here, guess what? We've got a pretty good roadmap for you, and here's where you're going to go in the next 5 years. That is apparently what compelled Florian Wirtz to come here. Not only that, but obviously he can see one of his teammates is on the way. He's probably had chats with those people. Teammates talk to each other. Frimpong will have had a chat with Wirtz and said, hey, well, if I'm going to go, what are you thinking about this? These guys don't just sort of sit on their own and, hey, well, I guess I'll go if you think so. These things are key to Liverpool getting these transfers. And I think a lot of people focus only on the numbers, they focus only on the stats, they focus only on the techie side of this game. What really needs to be focused on is the institute and ultimately culture building that Liverpool have done over these last 10 years, possibly more, across multiple different leaderships, because Edwards was there for a little while, then he wasn't, then he's back in. And what we're looking at now is the fruition of those 10 years. Be smart in one transfer window, next transfer window, guess what you can spend. If we spend 60 million in the last transfer window, I doubt we can spend however many million on Wirtz in this window. If we keep Trent, can we get Wirtz? Not only that, but I'd imagine that Liverpool probably pitched him on, hey, Trent's leaving, we are going to have Frimpong, Kerkez on either side of you. We're going to have Salah on one side, we're probably going to have another new striker just ahead of you. You are going to be the creative or one of 2 or 3 creative hubs within that side at any one time. Obviously, those roles changes, the formation changes. That will also be very compelling to a young player. Going into Bayern and hearing, hey, we have a whole load of people here, you can fit in, brilliant. Going to City and hearing, hey, Pep Guardiola, he makes number 10s, he made Messi amazing. Maybe that feels compelling to some players. Maybe some people do want to go through that particular experience with Pep. But I feel that Liverpool have built a compelling idea in selling it to the players. Hey, come play for Slot. Slot is the guy who can tactically upgrade you. He will make you even better. You'll have the space to grow because he works with the players. Hey, come work with these guys. Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, that midfield we just built. Another striker is going to come in ahead of you. All these players have probably been sold on all these ideas. And not only that, but we're looking at trying to win a Premier League title in the Champions League in the next couple of years here. Not only that, but he seems like a guy who's not particularly worried about cash. I'm not saying that he's not moving for a big fee. I'm not saying that he probably wouldn't demand huge wages. That's kind of stupid if you don't do that in modern football, right? But I also think there's a compelling case to be made that I don't ever think Florian Wirtz has particularly been in the limelight. And you could say that's because he's only grown over the last few years. But if that guy was in England, we're looking at him at are we speaking about him the same way we speak about Phil Foden? What is Phil Foden's age, by the way? Phil Foden's 25. Florian Wirtz is 22. Although May 3rd, he was only just 22. Wow. All I'm saying is, I think a lot of people are underestimating the potential of Florian. And it's exciting to see a big player come in. I don't often get excited by transfers, but with this guy flying in on a plane, Liverpool got a plane for him, guys. How many people take planes in the modern world? I'm joking. But a private jet. We will see footage at some point of a private jet moving around. We'll see footage of a private jet landing. We'll see footage of a black Mercedes Viano pulling up. Hey, here we go. You know, how are you feeling about it all? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be there. I know you will too. And yeah, we will convene down there. There is obviously also a Discord. There is also a Patreon, and there is also a Super Chat. If you're excited, get in any one of the three of those, and we will interact. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I do very much appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Come be part of the community. I appreciate you guys. Much love. Bye.